So you are fine with Elon Musk buying Twitter?
Let me put it this way. I just don't care.
Okay.
Like it's not like I encourage it. I think billionaires should be illegal. I do not think that we should have a set of laws in this country that allows for the existence of billionaires. But I do think that I don't think Twitter is. I think the import of Twitter. I just don't think that Twitter is such a force for good that I'm so concerned that it's going to be in some way devalued. I mean, right,
but now it's going to be. It could be a force for we are allowing white nationalists back on the platform. This is going to be completely unfiltered hate speech, threats of sexual violence. This is. I think there's
going to be a lot of people. I think there's going to be a lot of people who leave. I think ultimately it's either they're going to leave, or it's going to become a different service that he's going to sort of try and squeeze some cash out of it, or it's just going to be some big advertising for him. I just think that it's going to. I think we're going to be talking about Twitter in the same way that we talk about MySpace.
Well, so he's taking on $25 billion in debt financing to acquire it. Meaning this is likely to become a subscription service soon. So to your point, I mean, I don't know if that's the case, but it's not like Twitter has the best advertising model to maximize returns here. There's another angle to this. And, I get you being, as Matt said, black-pilled about this. But I do think there's something happening here where one of the richest people on the planet feels it can be his pet project where he can break records in terms of securing this amount of loans to buy a major social media company like this. It's, to me, in the same vein as I mentioned before, Bill Gates trying to corner the market on public health, being the largest private farmland owner in the country, Jeff Bezos having an entire monopoly on the online shopping marketplace and basically owning a de facto infrastructure that we lack because our government doesn't create it here in the US. So I just, I don't know. I think it's that there's a lot of tentacles to it.
Yes, I will concede that I do think that there is a general problem with billionaires, and I mean, and I just, this specific thing that he bought Twitter, as opposed to him doing anything else, frankly. I mean, I have problems with him doing, trying to change the transportation philosophy of the country to single passenger tunnels.
Yeah.
As opposed to just public transportation. I also have
killing people with self-driving cars experiments, which the technology isn't even close, but it's sexy to shareholders, so he continues to do it.
Yeah, I mean it is. The whole thing I think is but in terms of what happens with Twitter in and of itself, let me put it this way: I don't care if Twitter becomes just junk and it's done.
But we did care when Facebook was spreading misinformation, I believe, on this program.
Yes, I like I say, I also think, and I said this yesterday too, I think Facebook is a fundamentally different type of platform. The amount of people who engage in politics on Twitter is so much less than we understand. And it is really about impacting the journalists. And I think that there might end up being a different platform. I mean, I think this is, in some ways, I think it's going to be more sort of obvious that there's something, desperately wrong with it. I think also the other thing that may happen is that Elon Musk is going to probably have to do the exact same thing that Jack Dorsey did and that the existing Twitter did. But this is what's really funny about it. I mean, this is why I don't care that he bought it, because I think this is a case, like I said yesterday, of the dog catching the parked car. Here is Ben Shapiro. This is Exhibit A. Ben Shapiro on the Daily Wire yesterday, echoing what Mike Cernovich was saying directly to Elon Musk, and Elon Musk was involved in a discussion with Mike Cernovich, who I will remind you, beyond date rape apologist. Basically said there was no such thing as date rape. Taught guys essentially to manipulate women, and was one of the chief Pizzagate promoters.
Pizzagate Mike, he doesn't like people talking about that.
And Pizzagate Mike Cernovich was attempting to essentially attack one of the, Twitter lawyers who had been in charge of, developing standards for content moderation. Elon Musk was like, "Oh, well, thank you for this."
Yeah, it was like the guy was like involved with like that guy Michael Sussman who's on trial with the Hillary stuff, that apparently he facilitated the meeting with the FBI where Sussman perjured himself or something like that.
I'm not sure.
And Elon was like, "Oh, very interesting."
Oh, I see. Okay. So here is Ben Shapiro's advice to Elon Musk, and I hope Elon Musk takes it.
And then finally, and this is the most important thing, Musk needs to come in and he needs to fire everyone. I mean, everyone. And Twitter has hundreds, if not thousands, of employees. There have been studies done of the donations, the political donations of the people working at Twitter. 98.7% of all donations from the people working at Twitter went to Democrats in the last election cycle. 98.7%. So it doesn't matter what rules Elon Musk sets top down if the so-called Twitter deep state is still implementing its favored policies. Because this is the thing. And Donald Trump found this out when he was president. You can name the policy top down, but if everybody at the State Department hates your guts, they're just going to undermine your policy. You can name the policy top down, but if everybody at the FBI decides to spend the next 4 years ginning up nonsense about Russian conspiracy theories, you can't get much done. When Musk takes over the company, he should do what every boss at every company does, and he should review the employee list and figure out who is good and who is bad. Not purely on the basis of politics, but on the basis of performance. Purely. And the good news is, many of these employees are already sounding off on Elon Musk, and they've given him good excuse to fire them. So,
you know why they're sounding off?
Okay, right. We go directly. Let's take this in order. First off, just so you know, if there are hundreds or thousands, that seems like a wide gap if you're going to call for their firing. But let's just assume there's thousands of employees at Twitter. 98% of the donations that are given by Twitter employees go to Democrats. That could mean that 2 employees from Twitter donated to politicians, and they donated to Democrats. It's just 2. But let's assume that all those people did. So they should all be fired according to, aside from the fact that I don't want anybody to lose their jobs.
A lot of people are going to resign, by the way, because many of these Twitter employees' salaries were tied up in stock options that are now not going to be, because it's going private now, it's not going to be viable. So there's going to be a good amount of people resigning.
Well, they must get paid out.
They'll get paid out, but it's not going to,
there's no point in them. They've vested. Their payment is vested, and they're done, and they're gone. I mean, good luck. Good luck just finding new people who are all going to be there's a reason why 98% of them give to Democrats, because guess what? Those people are involved in those things. Yeah. Pay attention to what the F is going on, and they realize just how decrepit people like Ben Shapiro and others are. So yes, good luck with that Twitter. With all new employees. That's going to be awesome.
Unless your business primarily recruits new employees from the silent generation, you're going to have a tough time recruiting a whole workforce. That's what's always interesting about these, like what's I think the right likes to suggest is just a cultural issue that they want to win, but it's actually about disciplining the workforce. This is the same thing.
Same thing with Disney, exactly. Right? I was thinking
it's all about like Pixar employees getting upset because they're donating to DeSantis and he's doing all this anti-gay stuff. And this is the exact same thing. We need to discipline these new Twitter employees for the new boss. This is just like, volunteer boss helpers.
And these are the free speech warriors, right?
Yeah, can you pull up that tweet I sent for Ben Shapiro from 2020?
These are the free speech warriors who now should be fired because of their political donations.
This is from 2020. Cancel culture is real. It's the difference between criticizing someone and calling for their firing, silencing, or defunding. That's what he was talking about.
Yeah, there you go.
Cancel culture is when you call for someone to be fired, not precisely because of their political beliefs, even though I just went on a whole diatribe talking about how it's because they all, over 90% of them donate to Democrats. It's not really because of that. Like, no, you're trying to cancel them. As you're making an argument about how it's great that Elon Musk purchased Twitter for the free speech implications.